3 minutes to go now for Fanny Gibert. She's already had one attempt. What can she do with the second one? And that's the right idea. So the timing seems to be that you get the worst of the swing out of the way, and then as you come back into the wall, you try and turn it into a pull-up up to the zone.
Yeah, you can imagine it as an arc. You've got to make the next move at the right point on the arc, because so the arc is trending downwards. You need to go to the next hold towards the top of the arc, otherwise you're only going downwards from that point, and the next hold is getting further and further away. That was my best attempt at describing at what point to go to the next hold. You've got to get it right.
So Julia Chanaudy took 4 attempts before she found her way. This will be number 3 for Fanny Gibert. That's how you do it. She looked so solid that time, Fanny. The swing looked better, everything looked better. So it'll be attempt number 3 if she can top from here. As we said with Julia, they're not easy moves above, but they're certainly a bit easier to read. Not too much complexity to worry about. And you can see that top hole, but you can't really figure out where the best bit is. Fanny Gibert has figured it out though. She's got 3 tops on 3 boulders. That one took her 3 attempts, so the first boulder took 1 attempt, second boulder took 2, and the third boulder took 3.
I have to say, this top section looks really fierce, but these female athletes are making it look really doable. That's such a cool move. The way she has to rotate in the right direction as well as going upwards. So much going on there. Basically from the start holds to the hold that you end up securing and finding stability so far from where you started, it's really impressive.
Here comes Mia Krampel. Dedication to the cause, Mia Krampel. Clearly not at full strength, suffering with a knee injury, and she just would not let go on that second boulder and got it 5th attempt. Tenacity.
Certainly nothing wrong with her finger strength, that's for sure.
Yeah, and the root set again seems to have got that balance absolutely right, because just when you think someone's going to hold the swing, they end up with their weight directly beneath their hands and suddenly find that they can't hang on to it.
Yeah, just the body's just sort of twisting and rotating. They're trying to stab the left foot on the wall, but like I said, it's not really there for them. She could stick this not statically, but on the I think she could stop on that position. Close.
It's clearly one of those holds that you can hang on to it as long as your weight is slightly off to the side. But as soon as you're directly underneath it, you just slip off it, and that's what's happening to Mia Krampel. Both the climbers we've seen before her, the 2 French climbers, Julia Chanaudy and Fanny Gibert, have kind of quickly figured out, okay, I feel like I can almost stop here, but not quite, and I need to think of something else to do. Will Mia have the same thought process, or can she make the stop work? Here she goes again. Looks like she's going with a lot of momentum this time. She's looking at the zone and she's latching the zone. Now she's in position to go for it. Mia Krampel clamps that right hand volume. It's a bit of a tough slap with the left hand, although you wouldn't have known it from how she did it. Goes out with the right hand. Needs to be really stable as she goes to the left. And Mia Krampel has found herself 2 tops in this final. This is absolutely extraordinary. You can see again, she can barely walk over to pick up a chalk bag, but she will not be defeated. Any talk that we had earlier, the fact she might stop competing, long gone now.
I think she would go off the mats after boulder 4 in a body bag just to keep on competing. I think such a good effort. And like you said, Charlie, she just learned on this move. She learned you can't hold it, can't hold the swing and stop on the first hold. On the back swing, rotate the body and campus up with the right hand. Super cool move. It does look like, realistic, if you catch that top move, take nothing away from it, looks brutally difficult, but you should get it done from that point onwards. Pressure's mounting on the other competitors here, especially on Yanyo.
Katja Karic, no zones, no tops for her so far. Could do with finding something if she's going to find her way up the leaderboard. Never been on a World Cup podium. What will she do with the jump? She's probably the tallest climber in this final. What will that do to the jump for her? She was quite far short of it that first attempt. No lack of commitment, a fairly spectacular fall, but still quite short on it.
Yeah, just because we've seen other athletes do it doesn't make it an easy move.
No, that's for sure. Okay, here she goes again. She definitely wanted to stop. You could see her coming back down and looked like she expected to stop.
Yeah, it's interesting. As the legs swing, you can see the hands almost losing contact with the volume. See her sort of tapping around a little bit. She's sort of floating on the volume at that point. That's the point that she needs to move.
Here she goes, Katja. Went up to the zone with the left hand.
Yeah, I think reading the boulder, that would be the most sensible way of doing it. It's very rare that you see this sort of backswing move work where you end up crossing over with the sort of the non-leading hand. Blood coming out the fingertip. Yeah, you can clearly see it. Looks like she's bleeding out of two tips at the same time, potentially. This is not good. Unfortunately, we see that quite a lot with Katja. Let's have another look. So you just see the right hand just float a little bit just above the hole. She managed to adjust it and then went up with the left. She's obviously rotating around to the left rather than rotating right.
And this is not what you want. We just caught a glimpse of one of the judges hopping on stage, I think to tell her, but she didn't need to be told. She needs to put tape on, and she just needs to show the judges so that they're happy that she's not bleeding onto the holds. 1:15, the crowd roar now. She's bleeding from Katja Kadic. And you can hear the crowd living every moment of this. It's great here in Munich. You don't need to watch. The sound tells its own story. Janja Garnbret, game face on backstage.
Yeah, really interesting. She must be lost in her own thoughts there, because you see a lot of competitors with the headphones on to try and block out the crowd, maybe get some psych together, listen to it, whatever it is you're listening to. Janja just taking it all in.
This time Katja gets the left hand and the crowd react accordingly. 38 seconds to go. She's got plenty of time to do this top section. Talk about going up with the left hand. Everyone else has gone right hand and then across with the left. Here she goes. And I think it was the skin that was the issue.
Yeah, I think blood at that stage would have been coming through the tape. The tape can only do so much.
So she gets on the scoreboard, Katja Kadic through the zone, but how frustrating that your skin is what holds you back, it would seem, on that last move. Absolutely at full stretch getting that zone.
Yeah, it was super cool that she managed to do that method by campusing up with the left hand.
Yevgenia Kazbekova topped the first boulder. She's put herself in a fantastic position. I mean, right now she is sitting in third place. What can she do on this third boulder?
Hopefully she won't be suffering from the skin too badly as well. There's a bit of tape on the left hand fingers.
And she is the first climber. Can we call that a stop? I mean, she swung
sure
out, touch and go. She swung twice.
Well, let's put it this way. If it was a zone hold, would you give it to her?
Glad it's not, for the judges' sake.
Yeah, I think everybody in the arena thought she had it, to be honest. The legs were really rotating hard. She ended up with the right foot really high in the air to try and stop the swing. Thought she had it.
I thought she'd managed it there. You can see she's much shorter than Katrin. It looked an awfully long way up. Crowd not going anywhere here in Munich. It's still absolutely packed, as you would expect it to be. And she's trying to stop again. This seems to be something that's happened with most of the climbers, where they've had a go at stopping and then figured out they need to go up to the zone. But it seems like a process that pretty much everyone's gone through of needing to attempt the stop method.
Yeah, talking of things that they're going through, I think fingertip skin is high up on the list. See again, bleeding as well on this boulder. You can see that sort of classic jump to a fiberglass volume. The texture on those is so rough. Just so much movement through the hands. The skin is just absolutely on the line.
You can see blood there as well on her fourth finger, the ring finger on her right hand. Again, judges just want to have a look at it.
This is a real issue of modern bouldering, really. There's these sort of dynamic moves, and nobody wants to see people taping up halfway through their attempts on the boulder problem, but it's really hard to avoid. If we wanted to preserve as much skin as possible, we'd just have really static moves on in-cut edges, and it would be really boring. But we want to see these showy moves. The crowd want to see a show. People's skin is really going to be on the line, and they've gone through a lot of climbs and a lot of heat, especially today and yesterday. This morning, really hot conditions here. The skin is going to be thin. Even of those who finished the qualifiers, we're speaking to Jim Pope from the British team, there's just nothing left, down to the bones just after qualifiers.
Still trying to stop. Again, definitely, she's not really had a go at the straight up to the zone method.
Yeah, you do wonder. We were talking about the observation. She is the only athlete from her nationality, Ukraine. She's kind of on her own. She was trying to nestle in there with the French athletes, but maybe she hasn't had the opportunity to read the go again move as much as some of the athletes have.
40 seconds now. Yeah, still trying to stop. And interestingly, not really looking up at the zone when she's there. She seems very set on the stopping method. Not to say she can't make it work.
A lot of people willing her up this next move.
Again, trying to stop, but it's as she swings in that it's causing the problems. Can't find a way. This was a replay. So Janja Garnbret now looking to join Fanny Gibert on 3 tops. If she can do it in less than 3 attempts, she'll move into the lead clean, as in not down to count back to the previous round. Crowd expectant, the MCs giving Janja the big welcome.
I love the amount of energy this crowd's got. They're all buzzing still.
Yeah, they've been standing for over 3 hours as well. It's impressive stuff from the crowd. But if you can't enjoy watching Janja Garnbret climb, I'm not really sure why you're here. They are very pleased to see her back on the stage. As I say, it doesn't always feel like we watch that much of her, because she kind of gets it done and disappears back in. She did take 2 attempts on the previous boulder. Straight up to the zone from Janja. Even before she'd stopped swinging, she was looking for what was next. Thought about going up with the left. Now she's read it right. At least to lead with the right hand. Could this be another flash in another final from Janja Garnbret? Of course it is. Slightly longer off the mats this time. She still had 3:20 left on the clock. Boulder 4 in Wujiang. She was off the mats for 12.5 seconds. But again, Janja Garnbret comes out very briefly and then heads back in. You can see there, she was still swinging, still studying what to do next.
Yeah, that was amazing. There was no doubt that she was always going for the double method there. And absolutely blasted. It's really tough, really, because Evgenia Kazbekova has had 4 minutes of absolutely going at it.
Yeah, going at it.
Absolutely going at it. Put her body in line, bleeding everywhere. 30 seconds after Janja's pulled on, she's already on the top.
Yeah, there it is. Janja Garmert leading the way. And as I say, she's now leading the way on scores in the final. It's not countback separating it from Fanny Gibert. It is attempts for the three tops. Mia Krampel in third place, almost climbing on one leg, and an absolutely incredible effort. And if things stay like this, she could pick up a World Cup medal. Evgenia Kaspakona in fourth, Julia Chanaudy in fifth, and Katja Kalic down in fifth. As yet, the only climb without a top in the final. So the climbers have probably got what they want to see least at the end of a weekend like this, which is an absolute battle. So many ways of doing this boulder, I don't know where to start.
Yeah, I think the tricky thing, talking about starting, is going to be the start. And sort of you've got to use the edge of the wall, the arete at the side of the wall, and just to kind of thumb press it to get off the starting position, and some really funky stuff with the feet and these big ledges, and just into a pile of horrendous cheese blocks to finish.
Horrendous cheese blocks, I love it. You can see there's another hold just by her right hand that isn't one of the starting holds, so she's got to be careful not to touch that before she touches the starting hold. That's how you do it. Again, these dual texture volumes, the bits you want to stand on are useless. Gets the thumb. You'd have thought slightly easier perhaps to go up to the arete first. And I think she's going to change her method slightly and go up to the arete before she goes to the little thumb catch. Do with getting that right foot a tiny bit higher if at all possible.
Yeah, I think that sort of little undercut, really terrible jib that she just tried to use there has got to be key, just to bring that left foot down, and like you said, Charlie, just shuffle the right foot up slightly higher.
That's what she's doing now. There's no black tape around the side, so that the limit of the boulder is not defined. You're welcome to put your heel around to the right hand side and use the panel around the corner, which is what Julia's doing.
Got to pounce into that zone hold now. There is a foot available to her, just by her right knee.
Oh, does really well there, Julia Chanaudy. Left hand landed and it looks so solid the second it did. So she's up to the zone. She's going to finish with at least one top and two zones.
Let the wrestling begin now on this next section.
There are so many ways of doing this boulder. This upper section potentially very complicated. 1 minute 45 on the clock for Julia Chanaudy. She's been on this boulder an awful long time. Crowd really cheering her on. She's had a massive fight in this final. She is closing in on the top here, Julia Chanaudy, on a very physical women's number 4. Crosses through with the right hand. She's got one hand on the top and she releases the left. She's got two hands on the top. Julia Chanaudy, a flash of number 1 you would not believe, because she's only got 1 minute 19 left as she comes back to the mat. She was on the boulder that long, but it moves her up into second place for now, third place, for now.
A great fight. Sometimes these competitions is not about who wins, who's come second, who third. It's about the boulders and about watching competitors on the boulders, and that's how the crowd really responded to that. They wanted her to get up there. She was on there for so long, just battling through every single hold. A great moment.
Well, I think if they handed out medals for Fanny Gibert nearly gets a brush in the face. If they were handing out medals for tenacity, Mia Krampel would have won the gold and Julia Chanaudy would have just taken silver.
Yeah, good comeback from Julia Chanaudy here. Nothing on the first two boulders, and then two tops to finish. Much trickier than it looked, and a lot more going on this bottom section than it would initially appear with such big footholds. So Fanny Gibert's got the method dialed straight away though. Julia Chanaudy really an impressive pounce up to this first red block.
Here goes Fanny Gibert again. The left hand looks so solid. When underneath that boulder, it's hard to believe the top section could fall seemingly as easily as it did to Julia Chanaudy, but Fanny Gibert also looked really solid on that left hand.
Fanny Gibert doing absolutely everything she can do within her power here to pile on the pressure to Janja, and drops it. Attempts could be crucial.
Yeah, they really could, because right now it's attempts that are giving Janja the lead. Fanny with over 2.5 minutes remaining. She's got plenty of time, but Julia Chanaudy, I didn't check the clock when she left, but she must have been off the ground the best part of 2 minutes. Admittedly, most of it was down the bottom where you're not burning too much energy, but there's still a lot of climbing to do once you get off that lower angle section.
Yeah, definitely a lot of psychological stress as well when you're on that. You know, when you're on the wall like that, there is nothing else in the world matters at that point apart from you climbing. 100% focus on what you're doing. I think Fanny can be really disappointed that she slipped there. Does obviously move into provisional first with the zone secured.
Yep, she needs, you would imagine, she needs the top, and she needs it quickly as well. Crowd will be looking at the score and doing the maths as well. They know what's at stake here. Fanny Gibert, she's never won a World Cup. Third in the overall standings last year, French national champion, podiums in Boulder World Cups, but no wins. She has moved herself into first place. She'd already secured the zone. Now she'll begin to head out left, climb the cheese blocks. Oh, and does it without the feet. Very, very physical way of doing the boulder. Luckily, it's the last one for Fanny Gibert. She doesn't need to save any energy. Grabs the top of that penultimate volume with the left hand. Now with the right. There's the top for Fanny Gibert. She got it second go. If it wasn't for that slip, it might have been first go. But as it is, in front of this huge Munich crowd, she finishes the final with 4 tops, and all she can do is watch as Janja Garnbret comes out. Fanny Gibert is going to be at worst second here. May it be first. Janja still to come. Mia Krampel still to come.
Great mental tenacity there from Fanny Gibert, not to mention this insane arm power through there. Squeezing everything, juicing those volumes for everything they're worth. To fall off lower down, but to bring it back, keep it together, and put the pressure on Janja Garnbret. She's done absolutely everything she can do. Another brilliant performance from Fanny Gibert.
So out comes Mia Krampel. Mike, you and I were discussing, I don't think unreasonably, the possibility she may not be able to continue. If she tops this boulder, she's going to finish on the podium.
Amazing.
That was Angie Perhout briefly. Back to Mia Krampel. In the same country, they don't look that alike. And just see Fanny Gibert making her way back onto the middle of the stage to watch the end of proceedings. Temperature really dropping in Munich. It's been really hot all day, but conditions on the wall now, I would imagine, pretty good. There's a breeze blowing, the temperature has really come down, the clouds are gathering. Spectacular setting. You can see the Olympic Stadium and the beautiful glass architecture in the background as Mia Krampel creeps her right hand up. Now this is where that knee might cause some problems, because really you could do with really pushing hard off that left leg.
Same position as Julia Chanaudy, just got to bring the right foot up a little bit higher to get the distance to that jib round on the right hand side.
That's a bit more like it.
Gets it rearranged.
Creeps the hand up, and there it is. Again, it's been off the ground a long time. Goes lower on that volume rather than clamping the top. Now gets the top. So that's the zone secured for her, and that does move her up onto the podium places for now. Oh, and you could see a lot of pain in that left knee there. Nice. I really hope that's not the thing that keeps off the podium, because to have an injury that severe and end up on the podium would be a truly extraordinary story. And she does really well. Figure of 4, she's been watching the ice climbing. Now up through the cheese blocks. If she can do it, it'll be 3 tops for Mia Krampel, and 3 tops would mean a podium. This is absolutely incredible from Mia Krampel. What determination. And there's your reward. Mia Krampel, 3 tops. Almost climbing on one leg. She could barely walk out here. And she acknowledges the crowd and they acknowledge her. It was so bad at one stage, she winced on that boulder. And she deserves every clap she is getting there. That is one of the most heroic performances we've seen in a long time at the IFSC. And what a reward she's going to get.
Munich just keeps producing story after story. And the way that Mia Krampel went through from once she got established in that first red block hold, just so steady away all the way to the top, and to drop in a figure of 4, if in doubt, do a figure of 4. Barely ever seen it work, but so slow and so steady up there, so much fitness as well at the end of the competition. She just had the vice grip on every single hold and she was not coming off. Well, what an appreciative crowd. They knew exactly how much pain she was in. They could see it when she was walking out every time. So to go through and climb that boulder in the way that she did was a really, really good story.
Katja Karic the next to try her luck. The podium is gone now. The podium is actually set. We know who it's going to be. Mia Krampel is going to take 3rd. Fanny Gibert and Janja Garnbret are going to take gold and silver, but we don't know the order. Janja Garnbret still to come. We've seen it once or twice in the last few years in the IFSC. Janja Garnbret coming out with a big opportunity, but for now, it's all about Katja Karic. Still no top for her in this final. A lot of people watching on, a lot of neutrals would enjoy seeing her find the top. And again, that left hand that from the mats looks horrendous. She looks very solid on. So she's already secured the zone. That's 2 zones for her. Doesn't actually move her up the standings.
Such a physical boulder to finish so many different methods. Luckily there's a couple of decent in-cut edges on the side of these volumes. It's just a big body fight to the top of the wall.
Katja giving this one everything she's got. Can she get herself in position? Once people have got 2 firm hands on this hold, they've looked pretty good. Chooses to ignore the screw on. She's just sort of resting on it with her right hand. Goes out with the left. Goes out with the right. Enjoys the applause of the crowd. The final, I suspect, hasn't really gone the way she hoped. She would have been hoping for that first World Cup podium in front of this huge Munich crowd, but she does get a wonderful moment right at the end.
Yeah, it's nice to see tops come at the end of the competition, really. The crowd really want to see tops, and for them just to go out, each of the athletes coming out, finding good methods, interesting climbing. It's a really cool way to finish the competition of what has been a spectacular weekend here in Munich once again.
Evgenia Kazbekova, first final for her. I said it at the top of the live stream. Really, whatever the result, I think she was going to be happy with what happened here in Munich, but she got such a good start on that first boulder, topped it along with Fanny Gibert and Janja Garnbret. She may have begun to dream of medals, but as it is, she's not going to make it onto the podium. But she could end up with a more than respectable 2 tops and 3 zones, which would move her up into 4th place.
Always the case sometimes if you didn't watch the event, just focused on the scoreboard. The scores don't really tell the full story here for Evgenia Kazbekova. A really brilliant performance all throughout this finals.
Nicely done, just popped the right foot up.
So she's looked really good on the technical stuff through both rounds today. Second person to top a really technical semi-final boulder earlier on, but looking for the Hollywood finish here from Evgenia Kazbekova.
Yeah, she was one of the stars of the semi-final. We had to wait an awful long time to get a top in that women's semi, and it was Evgenia Kazbekova who found it and earned her place in the final. She could earn a 4th place in the final if she can fight her way up this boulder. Oh, and just missed it on that second to last hold. Janja Garnbret, you can see in the doorway, I think felt like she might be about to get out onto the stage. As it is, she has to wait a little longer. It's really difficult for the climbers to wait like that in full view.
Yeah, she's probably going to have a big rest now before another go. I mean, Janja's just got maybe 2 minutes, bit more. What do? You got your boots on, you're chalked up, ready to go. Just try and shake off the nervous energy. Another win is in sight for Janja.
And this is interesting, yeah, Jakob Schubert and Adam Ondra.
Can't help think they're still talking about number 4.
Yeah, they're over right in the middle of the stage, over by the podium. Of course, they'll both be standing on the podium later on. Jakob will be at the top of it. Minute and a half now, Evgenia Kazbekova's got left to find something. Up into 5th place thanks to that zone. It'll become 4th if she can find a top. Great angle there. See the crowd willing her on. Very solid up with the left hand. Got that heel hook in place, now needs to drift out left. She's been here before. How much energy has she got left? That's really the question. If she wasn't to do it this time, can't imagine she'd have enough energy left for another go. This one could count.
Really nice little footlock method there, just to try and conserve the arms a little bit. Superb technique here, crossing through with the toe catches. This is where she fell before.
And again she falls, and that is going to be it for Evgenia Kazbekova. Had a brilliant start to final. Yeah, she looked over at the clock. 30 seconds sounds like a long time, but it's not enough to recover and pull back onto a boulder like that. She was close, she was very close, but she could not quite find a way. She ends up 5th. Julia Shanodi will be 4th. Katja Kadic will be 6th. On the podium, Mia Krampel will be 3rd. The big question is, who will be 1st? Again, Mike, we had it in the men's competition. We got it in the women's. Last climber out, and a top will win it. Adam Ondra did not follow the script. Will Janja Garnbret. The picture of calm standing there. I mean, you would not believe she's about to come out in front of 5,000 screaming fans.
Yeah,
it looks like she's waiting for the bus.
It's going to be a top, but it's got to be within a few attempts.
Yeah, limited on the number of attempts. She's got about 4 attempts. To be honest, this boulder's taken people so long. We haven't really, I can't recall anyone having 4 goes at it.
Yeah, you wouldn't have thought attempts would be crucial unless she starts having a real disaster at the bottom of the wall, but this is it then.
This is the one for Janja Garnbret. She's never competed in a Munich World Cup and not won it. She's competed here twice before, taken the gold medal twice before. She's won all 4 World Cups in 2019. The last time she took part in an IFSC World Cup or World Championships in bouldering and didn't win it was Meiring in 2018. She really is pushing this winning streak to extraordinary levels. And she needs a top here, and she needs it in 4 attempts. Didn't really find the easiest way of doing that move. Pops straight up with the left hand. Remember, a top will do it for Janja Garnbret. She's got 4 attempts. Time-wise, energy-wise, she just won't have the opportunity for 4 attempts. So realistically, I think we can say if she tops it at all within the constraints of 4 minutes, it will be enough. She's onto the cheese blocks. It's such a familiar situation, seeing Janja Garnbret coming out last with the opportunity to win. Heads up. Now the next move will take her to the second to last hold. Janja Garnbret, she's never competed in Munich and not win. Can Janja Garnbret win in Munich again? Janja Garnbret always wins in Munich. And the question now for this incredible 20-year-old is surely not if she's going to break every record we've ever seen at the IFSC. It's a question of when.
Another awesome moment here in Munich. If you're sitting at home, head to your bookshelf, get out your dictionary, look up the word dominance. I think you'll find it's just been rewritten. Janja Garnbret is in there now. Absolutely smashed it once again. No doubt really in anybody's mind, just pathed it all the way from the start of the competition, all the way through the qualifiers, all the way through the semi-finals, and on that last boulder she had to fight a little bit, but really good climbing once again from Janja.
So that is a hat-trick of Munich wins for Janja Garnbret. That is 5 World Cup wins this season out of 5 World Cups. We head to Vale in 3 weeks. She has looked absolutely unstoppable in the first 5 World Cups. Can anybody catch it in Vale? Good luck to them if they want to.
Take nothing away from her climbing ability, but the mental capacity to be able to come out last there. She was standing in that doorway for quite a few minutes, 3-4 minutes, just waiting for her attempt. Just to be able to deal with that pressure week in, week out is phenomenal.
Well, there you can see it. Janja Garnbret, 4 boulders, 4 tops. Fanny Gibert, an absolutely valiant effort from her, also 4 tops, 4 zones. It was an attempt to count against her in the end. Janja flashed 3 of the boulders. She actually fell off number 2. They're collector's items, but she got it done in the end. Mia Krampel, climbing more or less on one leg, manages to find 3 tops in what is surely one of the most tenacious performances we've ever seen at the IFSC. She takes an incredibly well-earned bronze medal. Julia Chanaudy narrowly misses out on a first bouldering World Cup medal in 4th place. Evgenia Kazbekova finishes with the top and 3 zones. She's in 5th place, and Katja Kadic, 1 top and 2 zones for her. And we await now the arrival of Janja Garnbret. I believe the athletes will be presented to the crowd before we get an opportunity to speak to them. Just comparing notes there with Mia Krampel, I think.
I think she might have to help her off the stage. It was a valiant effort from Mia Krampel, like you said, just such emotion for her to be able to kind of be receiving that physio. It's just one of the many stories here in Munich that has added up to a brilliant weekend. Competition climbing once again, Munich just nails it.
Again, the athletes will be presented to the crowd, and then we will be live streaming the podium ceremony as well. Do stay with us for that. There's Mia Krampel. I can rarely recall a medal being so well deserved.
Fanny Gibert, to be fair, really pushed her right to the very last boulder as well.
You can't help but feel slightly sorry for Fanny Gibert. She's just come good in the era of Janja, and it just feels like Janja just always seems to find a way to get over the line. Fanny Gibert, you can't do much better than 4 tops. 4 flashes would have won it. Anything less wouldn't have been enough. Amazing performance from Mia Krampel, Fanny Gibert, and of course Janja Garnbret. And I have to say, dominance can be boring, but in the case of Janja Garnbret, it doesn't feel that way at all. We are unlikely, realistically, to see a climber like this ever again, certainly in our lifetimes, and you just have to sit back, you have to admire, and you have to enjoy every time you get to watch her climb.
Yeah, you absolutely do. And we're kind of saying that in the semi-final as well. You know, the semi-final was her round, it was nobody else's really. She was the only one to get more than 1 top. She got 4 tops. It was an incredible performance for her. But the question on my mind is, how far can she go? Can she win every single round? Can she win Vale? Can she win the whole lead season? Can she win the overall? Can she win the World Championships? Can she be beaten on anything?
Well, she now moves up to 24 World Cup wins. She was already in